We're good. All right. Welcome, FMAC community. Now, this is for the parents tonight more than anyone else. So get mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, Ned, get them all out here in the room so they can hear this. I'm going to try to give some information that'll be useful for all the parents. All right, again, welcome community, all of our students, families, friends, and visitors. We are always glad to have you with us because you're always welcome here. Tonight's message is going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to suggest ways that parents can cope with the emotional impact of the shutdown. Try to provide them with advice of how their children can manage their thoughts and their emotions during this time. So the gear is a little bit more towards the parents tonight, and then next week I'm going to take you through a step-by-step therapeutic process of how to get information from a child who's a little bit resistant, and then how to appropriately provide therapy for that. Okay? So here we are. Now, let's start off though, quick review of last week, because last week's talk leads into this week. All right, if you remember, Doodle was walking around in the kitchen, just sort of in a daze, not really talking to Mom, not really looking anywhere other than straight ahead. And Mom didn't know what to make of that. And then when she was in the living room, even Dippy came by and thought something was wrong, and asked if she was okay, and she could just give little one-word answers, and he kind of figured something was going on. But he went in the kitchen, and he talked to Mom about it, and the both of them just were puzzled. They didn't know what might be going on that's bothering her. And that's where tonight's message picks up. All right, Doodle stayed in the living room a little while longer, deep in thought, and then she decided she'd go into her room and try to find something to do. Meanwhile, back in the kitchen, Mom was still trying to figure out what might be bothering Doodle so much. And that's when Dad came in. He said hi, and she said hi. And he said, I was on my way to watch Wisdom's talk. He's going to suggest some things that parents can say to their kids about the shutdown. Let's go watch it together. And that put a smile on Mom's face. So they went in the living room. Mom wheeled the screen into the center of the room. They both got into their favorite chairs and they watched, and then the talk began. It's been said that we are living in uncertain times, and that's certainly true. With uncertainty often comes fear and stress. And fear and stress can make us feel confused, can make us feel overwhelmed, and that can lead to making bad choices, bad decisions. For parents to provide a safe, nurturing home right now during the shutdown, you have to think about this. You have to first take care of yourselves. If you have stress that's bubbling up inside of you, your children are going to sense that stress, and that might make them feel more frightened, less safe. By first taking care of yourself, then you can provide the best care for your kids. I don't think anybody would argue that right now one of your top priorities is making sure that they get through this as good as possible. They will only be able to do as good as possible as the good and possible you are, because you're the leaders that are really setting them up now. Okay? So you have to give that some thought. So let's start with fear. All right? How can we do a checkup on our fear, and what can we do about it to make things a little bit more nurturing at home? All right. Well, let's say, for example, you take a scale and we go from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. What number would you assign to your current level of fear? Now, if your answer was somewhere around 7 or above, the chances are pretty good your children can sense your discomfort, and that might be making them a little bit more afraid. Fear in children manifest or can manifest as rebelliousness, as defiance. Not that they're being defiant or rebellious, because they're scared. You see, you and I have developed adult brains that are that can deal with a situation like this and look at all the intellectual coping that we're able to give to a situation, even one as really ambiguous as this one has been. All right, we've developed over the decades a means of coping with that kind of stress. Little ones don't have that yet. Okay, the brain doesn't complete its formation till the early 20s. So that's why you did all those things in high school. Okay, little side there. So we have to understand that some of the behavior that we're seeing in them right now is not a result of them just becoming nasty, but they're scared. And they don't know what to do about that because they can't think in the terms that you and I can. All right. Now, some level of fear right now is absolutely appropriate. I mean, you wouldn't be hooked into reality if you didn't have some of that fear. But here's something to think about. Every military general feels some fear on the battlefield. But they have learned through experience to put that fear in check so it doesn't dishearten or discourage the troops. In fact, generals need to rise above their own fears so they can inspire their troops to have courage in whatever lies ahead. Now, courage isn't the absence of fear. No, it isn't. It's doing the right thing even when you're afraid. That is what true courage is. Well, General Moms and General Dads, inspiring your troops right now is one of the most important things that you can be doing. It's not a time to be sharing your fears, your concerns with the kids. You don't want to dishearten the troops. Keep the adult conversations for a time when the kids just won't be able to hear it. That's what good generals do. The other enemy that we're battling right now is stress. Stress is the way the body reacts to a threat, whether it's real or imagined. And right now we have real and imagined. So stress is also par for the course right now. Remember, fear and stress are normal. You should be feeling some level of these. That is normal. You just don't want to be completely melt down by them. You don't want to be totally overwhelmed by them. You want to be able to cope and put things into a proper perspective, a realistic perspective, that then lets you feel a little bit more relaxed so that when you're dealing with the kids, you can do such a much better job. All right? Now, some of the signs of stress, most of you have been there. Some of you may be there right now. These things can be physical. They can be emotional, physical signs, headaches, stomach aches, aches and pains. Any change in appetite or change in sleep suggests that there's something chemical going on in the body, and it's most likely some type of stress that we're experiencing. Okay? There's also emotional symptoms that we can get. Stress can make you feel isolated, can make you feel lonely, anxious, and it can really make you feel overwhelmed with things. Now you want to watch for those signs in your kids as well, because they might be demonstrating them. There are several things that we can do that are over-the-counter treatments that everyone can do to help treat their stress. The one thing about stress is it has to be treated. It doesn't go away on its own. It will remain, and if a lot of time goes by, it can make some real health changes. The best thing you can do for stress right now is to get with a confident friend and vent. Share with them the stress, the fears that you're going through. It's got to be a safe friend, one that you feel very comfortable with, one who's not going to sit there and judge you for what you're feeling and say, well, you shouldn't think like that. Someone who's going to listen, because when we're hurting, we need to be heard. We need to know that we're not losing our minds, and that's what a good friend can give you. That's why talk therapy for adults is such a powerful tool. Because by getting in there and venting the things that are on your mind, the things that are bothering you, you let some of that stress go. You feel lighter after a good talk session like that, because you just don't have that heavy a burden on you. as much. Yeah, and then as much as you're able to be a close, confident friend, maybe for some of your friends, maybe they could use someone right now to just listen. All right? There are other things we can do for stress. Being healthy is important. Exercise. Now, I know right now most of you don't want to get up and go out and do anything. Completely understandable. But you got to be moving around. Sitting in that chair is going to make you unhealthy. Getting up and moving is going to make you healthy. Try to get outside 10 minutes a day and take a walk. That's not long. But if you do it 10 minutes a day, you're going to begin reducing stress, feeling a little bit more in control of what's going on around you. All right? You got to get up. You got to get moving. Sleep. One of the most important things that our body does every day to recoup, to regenerate, and to be ready for tomorrow's stress. Kids should be getting anywhere from 9 to 11 hours, and then usually we say with adults anywhere from 8 to 9, and that's kind of minimum, but it varies for different people, obviously. But if we're not getting at least that much, we may be able to handle that for a little while, but we're not going to be able to handle it for a long while. Because as that stress continues to build up, we're not going to have the immune system we need to battle it. We're not going to have the psychological or the emotional system, even the physical system, to battle all of that stress. We need to get to sleep. Yeah, but I lay in bed, toss and turn, and I can't get to sleep. Okay, you're not alone, especially right now. You're not alone at all. Here are some suggestions. Don't eat or drink anything 2 hours before you go to bed. Some people say 4 hours. A lot of people I work with have said 4 hours. But a good 4 to 2 hours before bed, don't eat or drink anything. If you do, then your body's going to spend the first hour or two finishing its breakdown of that stuff and sending it to the different body parts that it sends things to. That is not going to make for a restful sleep. And if you got to get up in an hour and use the bathroom, that's not going to make for a comfortable sleep. Set yourself up for a successful night's sleep. All right? No eating, no drinking 2 hours, and that means snacks for the kids too. They're going to have a hard time sleeping if they're trying to digest sugar cookies while they're trying to get to sleep. It's just not going to work. The other thing before bed is don't do anything that has your heart racing. You don't want to be lifting weights and then 5 minutes later lay down and go to bed. You don't want to be on the treadmill, get done, have a sip of water, and then lie down and go to sleep. You've got to unwind. You've got to if you're watching a movie on TV, it's a scary movie, and your heart's pounding. You don't want to go to bed while your heart is pounding like that. You have to unwind. One of the best ways to do that is sit with a book. Yeah, they still make them. Okay, I guess you could do it on a tablet too. I don't think that would be too much of a problem. But reading envelops our minds. It gets us to these faraway places, to these stories that we read. And that's a fantastic way to work through anything that's pent up inside of you before you go to bed. A lot of people, even, and I've done this, you go to bed reading and you fall asleep reading because it's relaxing that way. As much as you can, as much as the kids can, use sleep as the body's necessary tool for recuperating each day. Diet, you know this. We're eating a lot of carbs right now. I'm sure you are. The chocolate sales are probably going through the roof. But remember, fruits and vegetables will keep you healthy. Fruits and vegetables are the premium gas. It takes a little bit more. It takes a little bit more of an investment. However, your car works better on premium gas than the real stale, state-of-the-art minimal gas. All right? You want your engine to run as purely as it can. You got to get some good gas in there from time to time. So try each day to have a banana, have an apple, have some fruit. Mix it around a little bit so it doesn't become really mundane. And that, again, is going to make your body work consistently more with what's going on around you. All right, you don't want your body to be out of sync with that, because that's where you can really start to feel out of control. All right, one of the things that we've used here too is relaxation breathing. Simple thing where you get yourself to a quiet place, lay down, face up, put your hand on your belly, and what you want to make sure that as you take a deep breath in through your nose, let it out through your mouth, that it's your belly that's going up and down as you breathe, not your chest. Okay? Diaphragm or stomach breathing, that's what you want to be doing. If there has ever been a time in the history of humankind where mastering relaxation breathing would be very important, we're there. We're here. All right? And you have the time now, the quiet time to do that. If you can learn to control your breathing like that in about 2 weeks to a month or so, you're going to find it amazing when you're in situations that used to cause you distress or panic. Now your body is automatically going into a breathing process that's keeping you stable, keeping your heart from racing. It's a phenomenal thing to finally get inside of you. And it works across the board. It works for things at work, things at school, all these things, simply by learning to breathe a little bit more deeply, a little bit more fully. 5 minutes, 6 minutes a day, a couple times a day. And again, like an apple a day, that's going to help you in so many different ways. All these things put together are going to make stress a lot better for you to deal with. You'll be able to deal with. All right? Then one more thing, get outside and play. Not exercise or walk, play. Get outside with your kids. Go to a field, go to a park, go somewhere. You've got to go by the distancing rule. We're going to have to do that for a while. But we get to still go outdoors up here. Thank God for that. And bless the government up here that's allowing us that freedom. That's phenomenal. Take them out. Take them. Let them run around. Let them fall down and scrape up their knee. Because that's what kids do. And parents put that red stuff on the knee. Remember when you were a kid and it hurts, it stings? That's supposed to be part of growing up too. You know, when you do that with them, you'll recapture some of that magic that we lose when we get older. I will never forget when I first held my son up, my first son, little baby, up to a Christmas tree. And I looked at him as he looked at the lights. And the look of wonder, the look of awe that I saw in his eyes rekindled in me the awe that I once had as a child. I could feel that again. The magic was back again. And I think that's what our kids can help us do. They can help us to recapture some of the things that really made life much more pleasant, much more manageable. Okay? Now, just some suggestions for the parents. All right? When your children talk to you about their concerns, just listen. Don't offer advice. Don't stop them and say, no, it's not like. Just listen. That's how in talk therapy you help someone. Remember, if they're coming to you with concerns, there's some hurt on the inside. And they're coming to you because they truly believe that you can provide some relief for what they're feeling. When you listen and validate their feelings, then they are going to feel heard. And when they feel heard and they're not being judged, they'll feel like they're not losing their minds, like they're not losing control, but that they are experiencing the reality of what's going on around them. If, for example, Mom, I'm really scared. I am just so scared. Oh, there's nothing to be scared about. I'm here and you're going to be safe. That's the last thing you want to say to someone who is scared. That's listening to the words and not hearing the message behind the words. I'm scared. Well, honey, look at everything that's going on right now. It's a little bit scary. That all of a sudden puts into perspective for a child something that they might not have ever come up with on their own. Such a simple way to redirect the thinking on something that now makes them feel a little bit less anxious. And every parent can do that. You don't need to have initials at the end of your name or any kind of training at all to be able to do that. You just got to care and you got to listen. Okay? You got to put your own needs sometimes in a box, and that's hard for some people to do, especially with the kids. Because we think by giving them advice we're doing a good thing. Not necessarily. All right? Part of what we want them to do is learn to truly and realistically perceive the things around them and then deal with those things in the best way that they can. And in the best way that we can deal with them, we'll be showing them a good role model of how they want to be doing this someday in their own lives. Listen. Also, too, keep an eye out for faulty thinking. Now, some of us have that right now. What if we never get open again? What if we never get to leave the house? What if we never go back to school? No, that's not going to happen. All right? The schools are going to go back. Isn't it funny? If 6 months ago you said to kids, if you had like 4 or 5 months off from school, that wouldn't have bothered them at all. All right? So again, times change, people change. That is going to end up being a very good thing, I think, in time. Well, the schools are going to open again, the malls are going to open again. Things are going to get better. And they need to believe that. They need to understand that. They're thinking, I'm never going to see my friends again. I'm never going to be able to play with my friends. Well, we got Zoom, FaceTime, Duo. We got all kind of stuff we can use. We can go ahead. This was wonderful. I saw a picture of 2 people playing chess. They're on Zoom. And they each have a chessboard. One person makes a move, the other one mirrors that move, and then comes up with their move. That is, to me, one of the most fantastic ways to spend an afternoon. A board game, anything like that. You could have had 4 or 5 friends working together that day, playing a board game of some kind. All right? So you're going to be with your friends again. It's going to be a little different for a little while, but everything is going to get back to the normal as we knew things. Hopefully, again, with stuff maybe being just a little bit better. Okay? And then finally, when it comes to their schoolwork, school is out for right now. All right? The children, if you think about it, have absolutely no incentive whatsoever to do schoolwork. None. Nothing they do right now is going to affect their grades or anything like that. So with sympathy, compassion, and empathy, we can realize that. Now, if there's still deadlines, if the school says you've got to have this done by the 2nd, you need to be the caretaker, you need to be the supervisor and make sure that gets done. I'm not saying don't do that. But I'm saying instead of really striving for them to perform as well as they possibly can, right now, whatever they're getting done is probably just going to be fine. And it's probably going to help them not to have to worry about trying to do their best at something that they have no real desire or incentive to do right now. Okay? The school, and in the fall, they know what to do. Teachers know what to do. They're going to figure out how to assign grades, how to do the grade advancements. All that stuff is what they do. They're experts at it. They're already working to get all that ready for the fall when everyone goes back. And things will be a lot more to our normal by that point. Okay? You know, what I teach the teachers is something really simple, and this might help. I teach them with beginners, praise them for their efforts, not for their performance. Because beginners can't do the movements well yet. They can't. But you see, if we praise the effort, then they're going to continue trying. They may even try harder. And if they continue trying, they're going to get it. The intermediate students, I say, praise the effort and the performance. And then for the upper students, the black belts who already have developed the ability to keep themselves motivated, we look at the performance. But with kids right now, praise them for the little baby steps that they're making. Because right now a baby step is a giant leap in the scope of humankind and what we're all going through. All right? And then just some final thoughts off the top of my head. You really need to believe that things are going to get better. And they are. It's already happening. Several states have already begun opening. I saw something that almost brought a tear to my eye. A beach open in Florida and people walking along the beach. See, to me, that's heaven. That's when we get to heaven, look for me down by the beach, because I'm going to be walking near the waters where the waves are crashing. That to me is just phenomenal therapy. And I'm seeing people doing that again, and that's wonderful. Places are opening up. We will open up in due time. There's no doubt about that. But to say that we need to stay in for a great deal longer time kind of makes everybody look and say, well, how come they can walk at the beach? They're looking at numbers. They're looking at all things like that. And, of course, decisions have to be made to make sure that maximum's being done to keep people safe. All right? But if you can believe things are getting better, they're finding new treatments and everything, it's just wonderful. If your news service, by the way, is not sharing that with you, if the newspaper you're reading or the news you're watching or listening to is not telling you about the good stuff that's being done, almost miraculous things that are being done, then change the channel. Pick up another paper. You've got to have input that's realistic and truthful. News is a business, and God love them. What they do is they sell news, and what people buy is bad news. And that's why every night when you watch the news report, it's all the bad things going on. And maybe 30 seconds at the end, they show you the birth of the new panther in the local zoo. All right? But that's not what the news is there for. That wouldn't sell. So there's going to be doom and gloomers always. Right now, make sure that you're tempering those voices with the truth and with the realism that the states have already begun opening. It's already being done. And we're going to be in there before you know it. It's coming. Okay? When you believe that, it's much easier to get your kids to believe that. So really have faith in that. You have faith every time you flip on a light switch. You demonstrate faith. You have faith that the lights are going to go on. When you flip it again, you have faith that they're going to go off. We have faith for such simple things. Have faith that this old world is going to keep on rolling, and we're all going to be here for at least quite a while to come, and things are getting better. The gloom and doomers are going to get louder right now. Why are they going to get louder? Because things are getting better. All right? Anytime there's any kind of a crisis, as soon as things start to get better, that's when the voices of doom and gloom come out, and they're louder. These are usually voices that we haven't even heard up to this point, but now, for a moment, they have a national stage by which they can share what is only opinion and speculation. Okay, because that's all really doom and gloomers have. All right? You sometimes we have to listen to them. But as you listen, temper everything that you're hearing with the truth, with reality. And don't let your hearts be troubled by what they're saying. Some are saying we can't go out until a vaccination, and that won't be till at least the fall of 2022. 2022, my God, did Florida get that message? Maybe they didn't get that message yet. How about Georgia? What's going on? That is absolutely not based in any state of reality. All right? Here is so simple to debunk it. Do we get the flu every year? Yep. Do they have a vaccination for the flu? Yep. Do people still get the flu? Yep. Do people who get the vaccination get the flu? Some of them do. Yep. So we have a vaccination already, and we've had one for years, and it's used every year, but it still doesn't make the count of flu go to zero because it can't be done. Well, this virus, we don't know. It's not a flu. It may very well run its course and die on its own. There might be a life expectancy built into the chemistry that we don't know anything about yet, that only time's going to tell us. But one thing we know, we don't need a vaccination for this to get back to normal. Again, you can just look at the people down there in Florida. The other thing you hear, doom and gloom, yeah, but the minute we open the doors, there's going to be a second wave, there's going to be all these new people getting sick. Yeah, there's going to be people who didn't have symptoms that are going to have symptoms. Yeah, we're going to be out and we're going to be in the public again. But we never had a first wave. If you read and look at what the researchers are showing us, there was never a first wave. We got hit heavy in places like New York, places like California, LA, all these places that were major hubs, places where people were flying in and out from all different parts of the world. That's where the majority of the breakouts were taking place. We didn't have this whoosh right across the country. That never happened. And it's not going to happen when we open the doors because it's not a part of what this virus is. All right? So yeah, I'm going to be really careful around my older relatives for a while. I may wear a mask around them for a while. But I'm not going to worry too much about me because if I do even get it, I'm going to be sick for maybe a week. I've had the flu many times. I've been nauseous from that many, many times. I honestly feel we can handle it. And I think you can too. And somebody said earlier today, actually it was Mr. Lynn, said, you know, when they say that it's okay to go back outside again, what they're saying is we believe that you are smart enough, that you are rational enough to do that, make the right decisions, and minimize any spread of disease, whether it's this or anything else. All right? When those doors open, you have passed that examination. Until then, stay well, stay safe, and have faith. Faith is such an important thing in unknown times. If you believe in God, pray. Pray for your kids. Pray for the country. Pray for the leaders. There's nothing wrong with that. Do it quietly. Do it on your own. Do it silently. All right? But if you have faith and you believe, you hang in there. And we're going to get through this. One thing for sure, none of us is getting through this alone. We're going to be here with you every single step of the way. I'm going to keep updating you with talks like this to help you to make sure that everything that's going on at home is reality-based and is not just some whim or some opinion that someone is selling in a national stage. Won't let that happen. All right? If you have questions or you have any other things that you'd like me to cover, next week's talk is going to be a therapeutic session where the family is going to do therapy with Doodle. A young child who doesn't know how to express what they're experiencing. Mom and Dad are going to show how that information can be drawn out without making the person feel bad, feel like they're sick, feel like they have a problem. Okay? What's one of the things we say to someone if they don't look well? What's your problem? See, again, sometimes we just look at someone not feeling themselves and we think something's wrong with them. All right? And that's why I think a lot of times people don't want to say what they're thinking. All right? Because, again, it's just the stigma that comes with that. So if you need some tools or could benefit from some tools on that, please join us. This is going to start on Wednesday this coming week. Tell your friends, tell your families, get this message out. I think we can touch so many people right now through this online streaming. We can get this message of being safe and being sound and be realistically in thought about what's going on around us. To not just look at the clouds, but to always be able to find that silver lining. That's something we've always strived to do here at FMAC, and I think right now we can really touch a lot more folks. Share this message with them. Tell them about Wednesday. Have them tune in. We'd love to have them. You don't have to be a student here. We have visitors coming in. In fact, yesterday we had visitors from all over coming in, and that's wonderful. I know we have students in New Hampshire, and welcome, Haley, I think it might be, if I've got that right. I think that's wonderful. I was watching you today balancing. That was phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay? Help us to reach out and touch these people who might be hurting, who might be scared, to kind of maybe rethink things a little bit and feel just a little bit more in control. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I'm going to turn you back over to Mr. David and the classroom, and I'll see you back here on Wednesday.